On my way home, I unexpectedly ran into my newlywed wife passionately kissing my boss. My wife panicked and was just about to run away. But I walked up and greeted them warmly instead. Boss, Madam Boss, what a coincidence. The next day, I got the capital city household registration I had dreamed of, along with a 200 square meter luxury mansion. Chapter 1. My wife is exceptionally beautiful. We fell in love in college, got married after graduation, started working together, and cramped ourselves into the capital city. I love my wife deeply. Just looking at her face, no matter how hard or exhausting life is, I never complain. I only hate myself for earning too little and failing to give her a good life. I work desperately hard. In an economic downturn like this, not getting laid off already feels like a blessing. I am an incompetent husband. I scrimp and save, work endless overtime, trying to save enough money to buy a home. Buying a home is the dream of most traditional families, but housing prices in the capital city are outrageously high. With our meager savings, it was clear we never stood a chance. Chapter 2. Recently, I noticed my wife had become even more beautiful. Because we're poor, I can't tell what counts as luxury goods, but I know her clothes and shoes all look great, stylish and perfectly fitted. Her skin has gotten better too. Almost like when she first entered college. My wife is usually gentle and virtuous, yet has strong needs in bed. She's practically the most perfect version of a woman. Seeing how beautiful she's become lately, I finally felt this was how a rose was meant to look. Chapter 3. The son of my company's big boss is a wealthy the heir, and I'm just one of tens of thousands of employees in their corporation. But one day, the heir came specifically to see me and said, "Oh, so you're George." The perfume he wore smelled exactly like my wife's. The watch on his wrist was the same couple-style model my wife had just bought. That weekend, I said I was going fishing, but instead I waited nearby our apartment. Before long, I saw the heir drive up downstairs. Our shabby residential complex didn't deserve such a luxury car. My wife got into it. I cried like a child. Chapter 4. I wasn't angry. I only felt sadness and despair. It was all my fault, my uselessness, my incompetence. That's why my wife was tempted by the dazzling outside world. I knew I could lash out at her, accuse her of betraying me, betraying my sincerity, but what would that achieve? My wife is so understanding. She's so beautiful. She's been with me for so many years, shared the best years of her youth with me. Every morning I wake up and see her lovely face. Every night I fall asleep beside someone so perfect and beautiful. I feel incredibly happy. What right do I have to hate her? And because she's too good, I can't bring myself to blame her at all. Just like she once said, true love forgives everything and only blames oneself. Love is a constant sense of owing. I should take the initiative and set her free. A woman as stunning as her was never meant to stay long in a poor man's nest. Like a flawless piece of jade, she would never remain in a thatched hut forever. It's all fate. Chapter 5. But I still couldn't let go. What if the heir got tired of her and abandoned her? And I had already divorced her. How lonely would she be then? It would be like being abandoned by the whole world. So I dragged things out, pretending I knew nothing. But one night, after working overtime until 9 p.m., on my way home, right downstairs in my neighborhood, I saw my wife and the heir French kissing. I didn't react in time. I froze on the spot. My heart ached. My wife, I was destined never to truly have you. She saw me too. Her eyes instantly turned red as she stared at me in shock. That's when I realized I'd forgotten to tell her I was working late. She thought I had already gone home. Sigh. No mistiming, just sorrow. The heir, on the other hand, wasn't flustered at all. As expected of the heir, even with a mountain collapsing before him, his expression wouldn't change. Man to man, I really ought to learn from him. Chapter 6. I walked up and called out enthusiastically, "Boss, Madam Boss, out for a stroll too?" The heir looked completely dumbfounded. He stared at me and asked in disbelief, "What did you just call her?" I grinned, utterly sincere, and said, "Boss, this is your wife." The heir burst out laughing so hard tears nearly came out. To be this relaxed in such a hellish confrontation, truly admirable. My wife was still looking at me sadly. She looked as if she'd been forced into all this. The heir rubbed his chin and said, "You're really a strange one." I shook my head and quickly replied, "Boss, I'm just a poor man." The heir pulled my wife into his arms and kissed her. He was tall and handsome. My wife was radiant and stunning. A perfect match, pleasing to the eye. Somewhere deep down, I felt a faint sense of pride. This was the wife I had chosen. No wonder she was in such high demand. The heir drove away. Even the exhaust from his car carried the scent of money. Chapter 7. After we got home, my wife said to me with reddened eyes, "I'm sorry, husband." I was vain. I couldn't resist the temptations of the worldly world. Watching her torment herself like this broke my heart. How does that saying go again? To truly love someone, is to make long-term plans for her. I took my wife's hand. Her fingers were fair, slender, soft, and warm. I'd always loved holding her hand, and loved letting my hands wander over her. My wife was perfect. I couldn't even bring myself to hate her. We sat together on the couch. I apologized to her sincerely. The one who should be sorry is me. I didn't make enough money, didn't give you a good life. Marrying me made you suffer. She shook her head and said, "No, it's my fault." I said I'd prepare for grad school and civil service exams, but I just stayed home watching dramas all day and only added to your pressure. I said, "Don't say that. Don't say that. You're so beautiful. If you hadn't married a poor loser like me, why would you even need to prepare for exams? It's all because I'm useless." We blamed ourselves back and forth for 10 minutes. I felt that if this went on, it would never end. So I took the initiative and said, "Wife, we need to talk." Chapter 8. When we were young, we thought that having love meant having the whole world. Now we've had love, and yet we're living such a hard life. My worldview changed. I said to my wife, Wife, since the heir likes you, you should be with him properly. He's young, capable, rich, and powerful. I can tell he truly loves you. Leaving you in his care, I'm at ease." My wife shook her head and said, "The one I truly love is you. He spent so much money on me. Every time I ran into trouble, he helped me solve it. Before, I just couldn't withstand the temptation." She then told me in detail how her father lost 500,000 yuan gambling. It was the heir who gave her the money to pay off the debt when her mother needed surgery. It was also the heir who lent her the money. The heir was genuinely kind. He never forced my wife at all. He just kept giving. My wife had told me about her parents' situation before. Back then, I felt as if the sky had collapsed. After all, I had less than 100,000 yuan in my bank account. Not only could I not help them, I was also filled with negative emotions, instinctively seeing her parents as a burden. My wife is a very understanding woman, so she never asked me for money, and I chose to be an ostrich. As long as you don't bring it up, I'll pretend nothing ever happened. I really am a coward. Not long after that, my wife happily told me that things back in her hometown had been resolved. Not only that, she even apologized to me, saying she had made me feel bad. I never expected it was the heir who had helped her. Comparing myself to the heir, the difference was painfully obvious. I felt deeply ashamed. I said, "There's no need to explain. I understand. I want you to live a good life. Since he can make things easier for you, then be with him. I love you, and I want you to be happy." My wife stared at me blankly. It hurt my heart beyond words. I pulled her onto my lap and said heavily, "Let's go get divorced tomorrow. If he doesn't want you anymore, come back to me, we'll remarry. Can we be together one last time tonight?" My wife nodded through her tears. Chapter 9. In the end, my wife was persuaded by me, and we went to get the divorce certificate. I advised her to take the initiative and tell the heir. The heir replied with another barrage of, "Ha ha 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 ha." I noticed the heir really liked saying ha ha. After getting divorced, I still went to work at the company as usual. My emotions were incredibly complicated. There was happiness that my wife had found a good place to belong. There was loss from losing my wife. There was panic. The wife who had been poor with me was about to marry into wealth and become rich overnight. While I was still a broke nobody, I felt the fear of being left behind, of not getting rich along with the crowd, and there was sorrow. My love had lost to reality. And even I myself had admitted defeat. Just as I was about to cry, a stranger added me on WeChat. The profile picture was the heir's face, confident, arrogant. Chapter 10. I quickly accepted the request. I had no idea what the heir wanted from me. He sent only one message. "Go to the household registration office this afternoon. I'm giving you a capital city residency." I rubbed my eyes again and again to make sure I wasn't seeing things. After confirming it was real, I immediately sent him 3 kneeling and kowtowing emojis. Then I hurriedly typed, "George has drifted through half his life without ever meeting a true patron. If you don't despise me, I'm willing to acknowledge you as my godfather. From now on, I'll follow your lead in everything and absolutely won't disturb you and your wife. Madam is wonderful, truly wonderful, but if she ever does anything wrong, just tell me and I'll talk to her for you." Bro, did I send too many messages? Am I bothering you? You go ahead and get busy. Bro, I'll take care of the residency paperwork right away. Bro, if you need anything, just say the word. Oh right, I've already packed madam's luggage. Do you want me to deliver it to you? The heir sent back another long string of, ha 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 ha. I figured he must be in a good mood, so I asked my ex-wife, "Should I deliver your luggage to my godfather's place?" She replied, "No need, I'll take it myself." How enviable. That afternoon, I took my documents to the household registration office, and completed the capital city residency. Chapter 11. Every day, I sent the heir 2 messages. One in the morning, "Good morning. Young Master Ito. A brand new day. Any orders? I'm online 24/7. 1 at night. Good night, young Master Ito. Hope you have sweet dreams. If you need anything, just call me. I originally wanted to call him Godfather, but he found it awkward. So I had no choice but to address him as young Master Ito. Heaven rewards the devoted. On the night of the 19th day of my one-sided daily greetings, he sent me a hotel address and a room number. He told me to go buy condoms. His exact words were, little umbrellas. Without some life experience, there'd be no way to understand what he meant. I sprang out of bed instantly and bought them at lightning speed. I bought every type and size available. On the way to the hotel, I sorted them neatly by category, and even bought preventive medication for him, just in case. Safety comes first. Chapter 12. I knocked on the door. The one who opened it was a beautiful woman dressed very revealingly. She was undeniably attractive, the kind of beauty that resonated instinctively. I lowered my eyes and handed her the bag. Then the door closed. There was more than one woman inside. The heir's life, my ideal. I didn't leave. I sat down on the carpet outside the heir's room door. I studied English while waiting to see if the heir would have any instructions for me. When I got tired of studying, I leaned against the wall and closed my eyes to rest. I felt a bit sympathetic toward my ex-wife, but for a man like the heir, having several women was normal enough. I just hoped my ex-wife could face reality. After all, we were all poor people who had been whipped by reality. Chapter 13. Luckily, the next day was a rest day, so I didn't need to go to work. When the heir opened the door and saw me, he was startled and asked, "Why are you still here?" I quickly pledged my loyalty. "Heir, I was worried you might need something. I stayed here, it's more convenient." The heir burst out laughing, then threw on a coat and put a cigarette in his mouth. I immediately understood, lit the cigarette for him at once, and followed behind him like a total lackey. When we reached the parking garage, he asked me, "Can you drive?" Thank God, I had a driver's license. I'd also been practicing driving regularly using company vehicles at work. I nodded immediately. He said, "Then you drive." The next second, he pulled out the keys and tossed them straight to me. Holy shit, a Maserati. The heir went to a club to meet young models. I handled tea, drinks, and every little task, running around before and after him. Honestly, being the heir's attendant was pretty flashy, if he planned on keeping someone long-term. I was even tempted to quit my job, but getting into his family's company had cost me blood, sweat, and relentless competition. It wasn't something I could casually throw away. Chapter 14. In the end, the heir transferred 200,000 yuan to me. This was a tip. After sending the heir home, my life suddenly felt much emptier. From then on, the heir would occasionally send me an address, usually telling me to go find him. Sometimes it was to play games, and I acted as his gaming partner. Sometimes it was to eat, and I acted as his dining companion. To be honest, with so many women around him, the fact that I could still get my turn to accompany him meant my tireless, persistent devotion must have moved him. Every time, I gained quite a lot in return, never less than 6 figures. I flattered the heir endlessly. When he won a soccer match, my ex-wife hugged him to celebrate, and I burst into tears on the spot. He frowned and asked, "Why are you crying?" I said sincerely, "Young Master Ito, you played so well, I'm just overwhelmed. When I was a kid, I dreamed of playing soccer on the field." He said, "What's so hard about that? Next time, come train with me." I shook my head, lifted my pant leg, and revealed half of a cold prosthetic limb. It was from when I was young. I got caught in machinery while doing farm work, and was left disabled. The heir took one look, burst out laughing again, even took photos and posted them online. When accompanying him to buy suits and luxury watches, I talked them up better than any sales assistant. When he lost at games and lashed out in frustration, I endured it better than a turtle withdrawing into its shell. Chapter 15. After my ex-wife moved out, I was left living alone. Thanks to the heir, I was soon promoted and got a raise. Sometimes, while I was at work, the heir would directly come over and take me out with him. I used to worry that accompanying the heir would interfere with my job, and even thought about resigning. Later I realized that as long as I was the heir's lackey, even if my work was delayed, no one would say a word. The leaders would just arrange for someone else to do my job. Heh, the heir even took me along to invest. He asked me, "How much do you dare to put in?" I looked at his confident expression and said, "I dare to put in everything." He asked curiously, "How much is your everything?" I replied, 1,865,326. He burst out laughing. What was tragic was that out of that amount, the money I had actually saved from my own salary was only a little over 80,000. The rest came from the heir's rewards, plus various second-hand clothes, shoes, phones, watches, and the like that he gave me. which I sold on second-hand platforms. I didn't sell the brand new things he gave me, because I understood. He gave me those so I wouldn't embarrass him. If I dressed too shabbily, how could he still take me out with him? Chapter 16. Rich people's investing isn't really called investing. I followed the heir's instructions to the letter, bought specific stocks he told me to buy, and sold them at the exact times he specified. I made almost $1 million. I was thrilled. I continued being the heir's lackey. Sometimes I ran errands for him, delivering all kinds of things. I could freely come and go from his home. He had a large luxury apartment and stayed there most of the time, though occasionally he would go back to accompany his parents. He probably had over 10 girlfriends. Some were celebrities, some were models. My ex-wife had it good. The heir helped launch her career. She became a minor celebrity herself. And he even tailored several shows specifically for her. Chapter 17. My English had become very fluent. Sure enough, when there's no woman in your heart, you wield the blade like a god. I wasn't dating or getting married anymore. My main time went to work. After work, I sucked up to a rich second gen and studied foreign languages. The return on investment was incredible. After finishing English and taking the TOEFL, I started learning Spanish and preparing for the deli. The heir began going on blind dates. That blind date partner of his was nowhere near as good looking as his girlfriends, but her family was rich and powerful. So the two were considered a well-matched pair. He asked me, if it were you, would you choose your ex-wife or the blind date partner? I hesitated and said, well, do you even need to choose? Keep the pretty one on the side and don't let anyone know, right? The heir burst into even louder laughter. He slapped my shoulder wildly, laughing so hard his mouth nearly split to the back of his ears. When the heir was preparing for his wedding, I was even more enthusiastic than he was, choosing venues, picking rings, offering strategies, filming vlogs. He said this wedding was making me more active than the bride and groom themselves. I was also fortunate enough to attend the heir's wedding. The level of luxury made this ordinary corporate slave silently shed tears of envy. Chapter 18. Not long after, my ex-wife landed a moderately popular drama. Once again, I shed tears of envy, but I also had several million in savings by then. Not bad, we both had bright futures ahead. If housing prices hadn't been mercilessly fleecing people, I would have bought a place long ago. On a Saturday, the heir didn't summon me, so I stayed home playing games. Then the heir called me and said, George, I've been caught cheating by my wife. I was shocked. He lit a cigarette. I heard the sound of the lighter. After a pause, he said, she's downstairs right now, ringing the doorbell. My brain started racing. I asked, the address? He sent it to me. I'd been to that villa before. I'd even gone there to deliver condoms for him. I said, hang in there. Wait for me. Chapter 19. On my way over, the heir said he suspected his wife had followed him, because he had exchanged a few WeChat messages with my ex-wife, set a time, and then gone out. On the road, he felt like someone was tailing him. He just didn't expect that she would actually follow him all the way. I cursed. This woman really doesn't know what's good for her. You already married her and she's still this unreasonable. Not like me. I only ever go along with you, bro. In fact, the influence of the heir's wife's family was even greater than that of the Ito group. The heir still wanted to maintain a good relationship with his wife's family, so everyone could support and help each other in the future. Although the heir acted calm and detached, I could hear the panic underneath, but he was used to being a womanizer. Asking him to suddenly behave himself was impossible. After all, any one of his girlfriends was a beauty with more allure than top-tier celebrities. My ex-wife really was outstanding. Chapter 20. I climbed a tree, jumped the wall, and then climbed up to the second-floor window of the heir's villa. Both my ex-wife and the heir looked tense. Downstairs, the villa's doorbell was still ringing non-stop. My ex-wife went to open the door. The heir and I went up to the rooftop pool to swim. When his wife came upstairs, the heir and I looked at her with matching confusion. The heir asked, why are you here? His wife's expression was ugly, but when she saw me, it instantly turned awkward. Why are you here? I shrugged and said, Makoto and I are good brothers. I came to hang out with him. You saw me at the wedding, remember? She nodded. Feeling awkward, I stood up, ready to go downstairs. At that moment, there was already a slap mark on my ex-wife's face. I was shocked. Wife, what happened to you? Who hit you? My ex-wife covered her face, looking utterly wronged. This woman kept ringing the doorbell. When I asked who she was, she wouldn't say. The moment I opened the door, she rushed in and slapped me. I thought it was some mistress you'd found outside coming to show off. Chapter 21. I glared at the heir's wife in fury and said, Miss Kim, could you please stop hitting my wife in the future? The heir's wife pressed her lips together and said, sorry. I didn't know you were a married couple. I sighed and said, We were very poor before. My wife said she wanted to become a celebrity. She looks pretty good, after all, but she was afraid her married status would affect her career. So we got a fake divorce. The heir's face turned cold. He glanced at his wife, said nothing, and walked away. We were all great actors. Once the heir and his wife left, my ex-wife looked completely deflated. Being a mistress also takes courage. After all, families with power and influence like theirs aren't people we can afford to offend. However, not long after, I found out that this villa was already under Willow's name. I was speechless. Early the next morning, the heir sent me a message. Go to the property bureau this afternoon to handle the title deed. Holy shit. I didn't even wait until the afternoon. I took leave immediately, went to the property bureau at 10 a.m. with a pounding heart, and waited there until the afternoon. Who understands why it had to be the afternoon? When the paperwork was finally done and I arrived at the new home the heir gave me, I was so moved that I burst into tears. Chapter 22. In this lifetime, my own parents never bought me a home. They once even thought I was already a lost cause and didn't want me to keep studying, afraid it would be a waste of money. As for my younger brother, the alt account my parents raised from scratch, we actually get along pretty well. But there's no way he'd just give me a house for nothing. My friends are good people too, but they're all drowning in their own debts. My job, I devote the golden hours of every single day to it. Yet by salary standards, I'd need to work 400 years to afford the house the heir gifted me. And my heir, he casually hands out six-figure tips and straight up gives me a house. Holy shit, he is my reborn father and mother combined. I swore then and there that I would be loyal to the heir for the rest of my life, to prevent getting caught cheating. Whenever the heir went out to have an affair, he'd take me with him. I'd book the presidential suite first. Then he'd come over with his girlfriend. They'd wage war in the bedroom, while I stayed in the living room on my phone, keeping watch like a sentry guarding a tower. Not a single one of his girlfriends ever got dumped. From them, I learned that the heir was even more generous to his girlfriends. Jewelry, accessories, designer bags, everything you could imagine. When you added it all up, the total was already well into the tens of millions. And that didn't even count the resources he casually poured into them. Chapter 23. One time, the heir's wife really did come to catch him in the act again. She knocked directly on the door, and even told the hotel staff to open it. The heir immediately hid in the wardrobe. I instantly dove under the covers, and lay down next to his brand new girlfriend. Both of us completely naked. It was way too thrilling. His wife was really something. I hurriedly asked, "Miss Kim, what's wrong?" She looked confused. "Why is it you?" I said awkwardly. "Could you not tell my wife about this?" She became even more awkward, and then left. I was in the middle of kissing the heir's new girlfriend, when his wife suddenly doubled back. I was speechless. Luckily, I'm clever. Chapter 24. The heir deleted all his girlfriends. Something seemed to have gone wrong at home. His wife was actively collecting evidence to divorce him. I added all his girlfriends on WeChat. If the heir wanted to date them, he had to go through me. Usually he'd say he was coming over to my place to play games, and his girlfriends would come too. I was already very experienced at this. Everything was done flawlessly, without a single leak, for convenience. He even gave me another villa, like handing out cabbages. Chapter 25. There was an overseas assignment opportunity at the company. I happened to meet the requirements. I was very tempted. Going abroad would let me see more of the world, but leaving the heir behind, I really couldn't bear it. In the end, it was the heir himself who told me to go. I hurriedly asked why. He dropped a bombshell. My ex-wife was pregnant, but he wasn't sure whose child it was. Because later on, things got pretty wild between them. My eyes went wide. The heir's wife had been investigating very aggressively lately. He told me to get ready and send my ex-wife abroad first. Once I went overseas, it'd be convenient for me to look after her, while I was secretly glad to finally be useful again. I couldn't help but worry for the heir as well. Chapter 26. Later, I arranged a paternity test in my own name together with my ex-wife. In the end, it was confirmed the child was the heir's. I felt a faint sense of sadness. I hadn't even started a new relationship yet, and my ex-wife already had a child, with the heir as the biological father. The child's future was so bright it kept me awake at night. Next time the heir has another illegitimate child, he'd better inform me in advance, so I can go reincarnate early. And so, I left for the overseas assignment. The languages I'd studied before finally came in handy. The heir gave me a sum of money, telling me to buy a house, a car, and infant supplies. I agreed without hesitation. Once everything was prepared, my ex-wife came over when she was 6 months pregnant. She had maintained her figure very well. 4 months. None of her fans had noticed the pregnancy. The heir said that during those 2 months, His wife hadn't caught any evidence on him at all. He even found a man to flirt with his wife on his behalf. I was speechless. I could only give a thumbs up, as expected of the heir. Brilliant and decisive. Everything thought through. Chapter 27. After my ex-wife gave birth, she hurried back to continue filming. The child was registered under my name. I became a father just like that. Both she and the heir were good-looking. So naturally the child was good-looking too. The heir hired me to focus solely on taking care of the child, paying me $200,000 a month. He threatened me viciously. If you dare to slack off or mistreat my son, I'll hunt you down through the dark web. It sent a chill down my spine. Damn, rich people are terrifying. To take care of the child, I quit my job. To stay legally, I applied to a university. When I had classes, I brought the baby with me. When the baby cried, I'd carry him out of the classroom. My classmates were speechless. The professor was also speechless. Chapter 28. Since my ex-wife and the heir couldn't come see the child, they had me run a cute baby account, updating it daily. Each post was visible only to the heir and my ex-wife. Every time I thought about the fact that I was raising my ex-wife's and the heir's child, I felt how strange and boundless this world truly was. Marvelous. Simply marvelous. Besides me taking care of the baby, the heir also hired 2 domestic workers, half to help, half to keep watch. Pretty good. So I wasn't busy at all. I was actually handling things with ease. Chapter 29. During this period, I not only completed my studies, but also started dating a wealthy older woman. Yes, a wealthy older woman. Her daughter was about the same age as me. When I asked her out, she asked me out too. We got along extremely well. Our minds highly compatible. One not obsessed with money, the other not obsessed with lust. Very quickly, I proposed to her. As for whether she had an old person smell, to be honest, I didn't notice any. All I smelled was the metallic scent of money. How should I put it? We could be called a match made in heaven. She taught me many things, and I worked very hard for her as well. After marrying the wealthy older woman, I gained legal status and an additional monthly income. She set up a fund for me, from which I could withdraw $50,000 per month as living expenses. When the heir found out, he was utterly shocked. His child had gained a stepmother. The heir was speechless. Chapter 30. The only downside was that the wealthy older woman wasn't very fertile anymore. I tried for more than half a year, and still couldn't get her pregnant. I panicked. I went straight for IVF. She became pregnant with twins. I was very satisfied. She successfully gave birth to a boy and a girl. A perfect set. My twins received an extremely generous inheritance. Each of them gets $200,000 in monthly living expenses. Fantastic. The heir often comes to see the eldest. His child, living with me, is considered the eldest. My son is the second. My daughter is the third. Chapter 31. When the wealthy older woman passed away, the twins were 3 years old. I received an inheritance of $1 billion. Each of the 2 children received $2 billion. Even the heir's son got a share, $500 million. Her assets were terrifyingly vast. And this still wasn't all of them. The remaining portion was inherited by her daughter. That part one won't go into for now. I have to say, the heir's son really was born with a fate of wealth. Maybe he even brings me luck. I decided to keep raising him. As long as the heir doesn't ask to take him back, I'll continue raising him as my own son. Besides, children bond with whoever raises them. The heir and my ex-wife only see him a few times a year. How much affection could he possibly have for them? And besides, the heir's wife has already given him another son. Chapter 32. After the wealthy older woman passed away, I split my time between investing and dating. After all, once you have money, you should enjoy life a little. I only dated young, beautiful models, but unlike the heir, I never dated several at the same time. I dated them one by one, and I didn't spend money. Over here, it's not popular to date several people at once anyway. It's more like one at a time, just with faster turnover. It fits my consumption philosophy perfectly. Date, but don't spend. Chapter 33. The heir brought his second son to country A to study. We lived next door to each other. This time, my house was finally not a gift from the heir. It was a gift from the wealthy older woman's daughter. Me, someone who's loved taking advantage all his life, felt very proud. The eldest was already 5 years old. The heir's second son's nickname was Shinxai, and he was 3. My twins were also 3. The eldest didn't know the heir was his biological father. He thought I was his dad, but he did know my celebrity ex-wife was his biological mother. Such a complicated set of relationships. Chapter 34. My celebrity ex-wife had been desperately filming non-stop. She had now become a top-tier star. She said making money was addictive, but her career took a massive hit after she came to country A to see the eldest, and got exposed. Originally, the heir could have suppressed the publicity completely, but his wife was watching him closely. And he didn't dare make a move. After his wife gave birth, he cut off all contact with his other girlfriends, because I wasn't in the country. He nearly had a major fallout. He said his wife was extremely vengeful. My celebrity ex-wife, the mistress, tried to salvage the situation, but the eldest's actions completely chilled the heir's heart. Chapter 35. Here's what happened. The heir and I were having lunch together, a truly equal meal, because I'd been involved in too many of the heir's unspeakable affairs. We were actually closer than even his most trusted subordinates at the company. The nanny made a pizza. One tray wasn't enough to go around. After each of the kids got one, there was only one slice left for me and the heir. The eldest didn't hesitate at all, and gave the pizza to me. I quickly said, "Lucas, give it to Uncle Ito first. He came specifically to see you. You should think of him first." Lucas was reluctant. He explained to me, "Dad, this pizza is really good. I made it together with the nanny. The one the nanny brings out later is for Uncle Ito. This one, I helped make it." Chapter 36. The heir smiled and said, "If you made it, then I have to try it even more. I flew more than 10 hours just to see you." Lucas couldn't understand that. He was a stubborn child and insisted, "Dad, I want to give it to you. Meaning, don't say anything else." I gave a helpless, bitter smile and could only eat it. The heir sighed, shrugged, and said, "I owe him." I said indifferently, "He's living such a good life, where's this so-called debt coming from?" He said, "He's not close to me," I replied. Kids are all like that. The heir was afraid the child wouldn't be able to keep secrets, and also afraid he couldn't accept his background. So he had always kept the truth from Lucas, but at the same time, he didn't want his biological son to be completely stolen by me. So the heir had my ex-wife come out to take care of the child. At least she was the biological mother. Chapter 37. My ex-wife didn't dare disobey and came, but Lucas wasn't close to her either. Before this, he had always called the wealthy woman Mom. He couldn't understand why he now had to call my ex-wife Mom. I could only try to explain it to him, but Lucas felt that my ex-wife didn't love him at all. Otherwise, why would she have left me? I was instantly left speechless. Filled with guilt, he thought that no real mother would abandon her child. Giving birth but not raising him could only mean she saw him as a burden. Luckily, he didn't dwell on it too much. After all, every day he had soccer to play, friends to run around with. His days were always loud and full of life. Chapter 38. Once my ex-wife came over. She couldn't stay at the heir's villa, so she could only live with me. It also made it easier for her to bond with Lucas. Sometimes the heir would come over and have an affair with my ex-wife. It truly became the scenario where I continued acting as cover for them. I was speechless. My young girlfriend couldn't understand why my ex-wife still lived in my house. Even though we were divorced, I could only explain that it was for the child. My girlfriend still didn't understand. She would occasionally throw little tantrums. I finally realized that my ex-wife living in my house was already affecting my life, so I could only change girlfriends and charge my ex-wife rent. Chapter 39. My household was crowded with people. Me, my new girlfriend, my ex-wife, 3 children, plus the heir next door and his son. They were basically always at my place. When the heir's wife came over, we'd have to add another set of bowls and chopsticks every time I walked through the door and saw a house full of people. I couldn't help but sigh. Being rich is really great,